In this video, we're going to talk about how to grow your pickup and delivery service for your laundromat, your dry cleaners. I'm going to talk about beginning stages and then what I would call middle stages and then ending stages because they have to be done in this order. We're going to talk about building a good foundation and then what we're actually seeing work every single day to grow your pickup and delivery service. And thank you so much for everyone that checked out my full marketing plan for 2026. I'll link that video above. Now let's talk about the beginning stages of growing your laundromat, your dry cleaners pickup and delivery service, right? So you have to make sure that you have a good foundation, and that starts with a website. I'm always surprised on how many people don't have a website or don't use their website or say things like, my website doesn't really convert for me. And then, okay, then you have the wrong website. It should be one of your main drivers of traffic and conversion. Make sure you have a good custom website that could be built on WordPress. Sure, you could do something like Wix or Squarespace, but that's just not going to get you where you need to be with SEO and AI SEO and everything else that's going to be implemented on growing your pickup and delivery service. So get something custom like a WordPress website, or if you are going to go with a template, make sure that you put a lot of work into every single level that can be done, but knowing that one day you will outgrow it and need something a little more custom. Once you have your website in place, then you can work on getting a plugin or embed or whatever your service that you use, like Clean Cloud or Smart or any of those others out there, handle for pickup and delivery. So you're going to get that embedded onto your website.
Something else I should have mentioned with the website is creating a Google Tag Manager account. A lot of people don't have it, but look at creating one, because later when you start implementing other tools, it's going to make your life much, much easier to kind of use Google Tag Manager for those tasks.
So having the website was the beginning stages, and then what I would call like the middle is starting with Google Ads. And there's a few things I want to mention with Google Ads. I'm going to do a separate video about Performance Max campaigns as a whole for laundromats and dry cleaners and how important they are for driving phone calls and driving conversions. I'm always surprised at how many people have never ran Google Ads, or maybe they tried some in the past and they're not really running them now, and especially Performance Max campaigns. A few years ago, those were not really great. They were good to have and they had their purpose, but in the last few years, the amount of data that they started giving you with Performance Max campaigns is incredible. The search terms, what people are typing into Google Maps, like that's really high level stuff that you need to know. And so those Performance Max campaigns are important. So I'd start by building a search campaign and a Performance Max campaign for your pickup and delivery. And the wonderful thing about laundromats and dry cleaners is the budget really doesn't need to be very high. So I'd maybe do like $10 for each of them to get started. I would make sure your location is smaller, maybe like a 10, 20 mile radius. Make sure that the keywords are really focused in.
Also, I should have mentioned, for the search campaign, what you want to do is keep the pool of keywords small. A lot of people, what they do wrong with Google Ads is they start just adding hundreds of keywords, and then you are really just having all those fight for your budget each day, and that's not really how you want to approach it. You want to keep a smaller amount of keywords, and sure, add over time, maybe. And then also the other side note is, if this is your first time running Google Ads yourself, I would look at using phrase match keywords and less a broad match for the search campaign. Because if you do broad match and then you're like laundry near me, Google's like, yeah, turkey sandwich on 7th Street, same thing. You start getting these really weird search terms, and you can look at that in the search terms of that campaign.
And then the Performance Max, you're going to have to watch the search terms. So with all that said and done, definitely focus on the pickup and delivery keywords and find that with the search intent on the Performance Max campaigns. Having those two set up will help so much. And also, side note, if you're running Performance Max campaigns, maybe take a look at your Google business profile, make sure it's set up for success, and make sure it has photos that you like. And because you can actually pull your Google business profile into that Performance Max campaign, and helps a lot. The reason I start with Google ads instead of something like a social media ad or a Roku TV ad or a billboard or the million other ways you could be advertising, I start with Google ads is because I really think that gives you some good data. And very clear data of like age range, who's clicking, what zip codes, and you can use all that data when you have it fine-tuned to then build your social media ads, your Microsoft Bing ads, your any of those things that you can target with. At least okay, these are who convert on Google, and I can apply that to all the other campaigns I'm doing. Yeah, if you want to add a little spice to this middle section of this whole campaign we're working on, look at retargeting ads for social media. So you have your Google ads going really well, they're focused in, and then you're getting some really good video of pickup and delivery, and you're running that on social media and only targeting people that have been on the website in the last 180 days, people that have watched recent videos on your Instagram, those type of things that you can retarget. I would look at building those out, so then you're not only pulling them in from Google, but then you're reminding them on social media. And those two things together is like peanut butter and jelly. Okay, so we have the website in place, we got some Google ads going, maybe we're playing around with some retargeting, and then I would look at the SEO. Let's not get crazy, let's not get too crazy at this stage, we're just building foundations. What I would do, take a moment, and I would write, let's do 3 blogs about pickup and delivery. Maybe one is about the ease of it, one of it is about the subscription base, one of it, just different ideas around your pickup and delivery, and make sure in these blogs you're talking about the zip codes or cities or county that you're in, really focus those keywords, and then make sure that maybe you mention your name, your price, your website, how to do it, those type of things sprinkled in. Because really, you're not writing these blogs for people to read, to be honest. You're writing these blogs for AI to read. You're writing these blogs for AI to pull data into for when people are using ChatGPT and saying, hey, who does pickup and delivery near me? And then they read that blog real quick and they go, hey, this source of this blog says that this place is the best at doing it. That's going to lead to a little bit better SEO, a little bit more AI, and then places like Google, they see that you're talking about these topics not only on your main pages, but then in these blogs. And they go, oh, they're showing up here, they're showing up in these blogs, these keywords, this keyword and this location together, they must be important, they must have the authority on this. And so you're building a little more trust with Google, you're building a little more trust with AI, all that's pull them together, and now here you are in this middle section getting conversions from Google, getting conversions from SEO, and it's building, and your competitors are not doing any of these things. Okay, so we have the website set up, we have some SEO going, we have some Google ads going, maybe a little bit of retargeting going. Now let's talk about the end section of this. I see this all the time where it's like maybe they downloaded your Clean Cloud app or whatever app you're using, but maybe they don't place their first order. Well, here at Marketing Beaver, we have our own app that we plug in with Clean Cloud or Smart, and we can actually check if someone signed up for your system but never placed an order. We can track that, and then we can build automations that 7 days after they get this email, 14 days later they get this text message, so on and so forth. And then you could do a 30-day follow-up, a 60-day follow-up, and you can have all those systems going and automations. So look into that. There's many different softwares out there that do that, but of course you could give us a call at Marketing Beaver and we can show you what we do. To start with this, we're going to start with SMS. We're going to start with text message marketing, right? So we're going to build automations and we're going to pull that data in, or a lot of softwares you can just export all of your data, and then you're going to build these follow-up text messages, follow-up marketing for people that haven't been in the store in 14 days, 30 days, 60 days, people that signed up but never placed an order. You're going to do some of these automations to follow up with them. I bet you right now that you have tons of phone numbers, tons of past customers that you can reach out to that probably have no idea that you're now offering pickup and delivery. So that's like day one, right? You can just send a quick text. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or anything over the top. It can be a very short text of, hey, it's so-and-so, my business, whatever it is. It's, so-and-so. Did you know we offer pickup and delivery? It's free. I'd love for you to try it. That's it. That's all the text has to be. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be that simple. And you can just see, if you have a huge list, maybe you've been in business for 20 years, and you can have a huge list, and you've never sent something like that, you might be surprised how many people just go, oh, yeah, let me give it a try. That right there, it costs you very little. Second stage is email. So we have all those automations going with text message. We've sent a mass text to everyone, letting them know. And now we're going to do the same thing with email. You could have follow-ups with email, and then also do a mass email. And here's my tips on the email. Make the email text-based. Don't make a fancy background. Don't Photoshop you riding a surfboard on a beach or something. Don't do anything crazy like that. Not on this email. This email is going to be text-based. No links, no photos. You're going to make it text-based, and you're going to say, hey, did you know that we offer pickup and delivery? I'd love for you to check it out. Here's a discount code or something like that, right? Or mention this email when you come in. This is the time for text-based. And why? Is because I want you to stay out of the spam, and I want you to stay out of the promotion, if possible. Not always possible, but stay out of promotion, and then you're just directly to them, because your open rate is going to be higher than it's ever been. It's going to be much higher than any of those fancy emails you've been sending in the past. And so this one has the highest chance of getting to those people that it normally doesn't get to. Those are the stages you're going to knock out. You're going to get a beautiful website going with an embed. You're going to get your Google ads going with some SEO. And then you're going to pull it all together by following up with text messaging and email marketing. Nothing crazy here, but it does take a moment to kind of set all those things up and get them in the right place. I really can't wait to see what you do with this info. Reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions. And thank you so much for subscribing. Everyone's been subscribing from the last video, and I really appreciate that. And so we've been growing. I'm going to keep posting. I have a couple more videos I'm going to work on. One's about the Performance Max ads, and I have a couple other ideas. Feel free to message me and let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about. See you on the next one.